I ain't saying Triple B a gold digger, but he don't want to be no broke nigga. So y'all make sure, as well as you be liking and subbing, that you all donate some of that Benjamins to my base brethren. See my boy's description below. Do that thing,
Yo, what up? Yeah, Kanye. Thanks, Kanye, man. I'm big you up, man. Thank you for trying to get me funds to put their hands in their pockets. You know, I ain't saying Triple B's a gold digger. But anyway, Kanye can be quite base, but I think it's like everyone who's been, he's done some Christian albums and stuff, but it's like all of it, when you got to the top, right? You can try and get out of your contract, but you're not going to. You're either going to get whacked, yeah, or lose all your money, get cancelled, all that stuff. And I think that's happened to Kanye. Like, he's tried to speak out, but it ain't happening, man. In fact, you remember he had some rant, didn't he, a few years ago against Jay-Z and what was going on, and with the Illuminati and stuff, and he was forcibly taken to a psychiatric ward for 2 days, to some place where allegedly it's known for brainwashing. Anyway, this is a boxing channel, not a Kanye West channel, yeah. But big up Kanye. I'm glad you like the Triple B. We're looking at this weekend's fight. British bill. It's a shalom bill, so you can't expect anything too special. And I've already just done a video, which you should check out, rating every single one of his 30 fighters. I thought it was 29, but he forgot to add his new amazing signing, Roman Fury, that bum. But I've slayed him as well, so there you go. And when Shalom does shows, he just doesn't have that many fighters, so, who's there to put on? But he does have, 2 decent fighters on his roster, and that's Adam Azim and Martin Bakoli, okay? Like I said, he got Chris Eubank Jr., but that's only good for a paper, that's good for a couple of fights. That bum ain't never getting a world title. Listen, how can he go up in a world title rankings, Chris Eubank Jr., for beating up a drug cheat whose boxes low as 140 pounds and now is a welterweight, and he's boxing at middleweight. That should make no difference to your standings in world rankings. It's just one of them money fights. It's a celebrity fight as much as anything else, right? But Adam Azim, on the other hand, is a very impressive prospect, right? And big things are expected of him. He's only 22-year-old. He's called the Assassin. He grew up in Slough, poor man. He grew up in Slough. I guess everybody got their burden to bear. I've been to Slough, right? I did some consultancy for a big company, right? And I had to spend a week in Slough in some whack hotel. Man, I can't tell you. There's just nothing going on. Who's that famous poet, Betjeman? John Betjeman said it should be bombed, and that was years ago. There's just weird. There's nothing there, man. In that high street, there's no restaurants hardly. Actually, that's where I went to my first Nando's. So thanks, Slough, for introducing me to Nando's. But apart from that, Slough is whack. But that's Azim's hometown. Now, he's based fighting a guy called Sergey Lipinets, right? Who's from Kazakhstan. Now based in the US. It's funny, right? You look at all these fighters, they're even vaguely world class. They all seem to move to the US and end up getting based in the US. A couple in Canada. There are a few exceptions, of course. Klitschko brothers, but you look at any African fighter that's halfway made it, including Ike Iwabuchi, the grapist. You look at a whole bunch of Eastern European fighters, and they not Western European fighters, right? But even Guido Vianello is now based in the US. But what I mean is all these fighters, they end up staying in America. They seem to be allowed to stay, even after their careers are finished, But there you go. So Lipinets lives in California. His record is 18 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw with 13 KOs. He's been stopped once by Jaron Boots Ennis. But Boots Ennis is maybe the next American superstar. He's a big puncher. 33 wins, 29 KOs, no losses. I mean, this guy is one of the big prospects. I say prospect. He's an IBF World Welterweight Champion, but he's a guy that they think might become a superstar. So there's no big disgrace there. But apart from that, his chin has been pretty solid. Lipinets. Now, Lipinets did win the world title. I mean, it's a few years ago now, right? Lipinets is I think he's 35. Is that correct? Yeah, he's 35. Back in the day, that used to be a bit of a death sentence for fighters. These days, they can go on a bit longer, but 35 at the lower weights is old. I mean, he's not at the lower weights. He's a light welter. So 35 is okay, but he's obviously past his peak. He's called the Samurai. I don't know why. He ain't from Japan. But he's from Kazakhstan. But the thing is, when I played them Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, them kind of places, and Dagestan, them kind of areas, right? Those kind of, all the Russian fighters from that kind of area, the Caucasus area, they're always tough. They can always fight. You could say maybe Ukraine as well. Especially recently, Ukraine's had some super fighters. But, your Kazakhs and your Uzbeks and your Dagestanis and those kind of guys are always tough, man. The Dagestanis are more in that area. A lot of them are into MMA, but that Caucasus area produces loads of good fighters. So we can expect them to be tough, The Kazakhs, Uzbeks, and the Russians from the Caucasus are like the Samoans, the islanders, the Samoans of Eastern Europe, because they're tough. They're known to be tough. They don't back down. They got good chins. They're warriors. You get me? So whenever you see a Kazakh or an Uzbek or someone from that area, you expect him to be a good fighter. And Lipinets, he was a decent enough fighter. Like I said, he did win the IBF, what's called the super light title, which is light welter. He won it against a guy called, some Japanese guy, who I can't pronounce. His surname is Kondo, Akihiro Kondo, right, from Japan. But he didn't have a good record, And he got outclassed by Lipinets, It wasn't a truly world-class fighter. And then he fought Mikey the Bum Garcia. You remember that guy, Mikey Garcia? Mike Garcia, I always used to think he had this weird hairline where his hairline was really down his forehead. He looked like one of them, one of them Mexicans. You see them often in Mexico and places like that. You get them guys that are born with hairy faces. He looks like one of them. But, he's beaten, some other decent guys. Leonardo Zapavinia was an Australian prospect. He KO'd him. What other recognizable names? Lamont Peterson, he KO'd. So, Omar Figueroa Jr. So he's beaten a few world-class fighters, right? But he's not, there's by no means an exceptional world champion. He won the title, then got beat up by Mikey the Bum Garcia, and it was a clear victory for the Bum. And Lipinets did get put over. So despite being a tough guy, he has been down. Jaron Boots Ennis put him down at 4-6, around 4-6, so twice he got put down by Mikey the Bum Garcia. So he can be stopped, but this is a step up for Adam Azim. And, Adam Azim has not boxed in world class. This is his first true world class opponent. I mean, you don't count O'Hara Davis as a world class opponent. Davis can punch a bit, but at world class, he gets decimated. You know what I'm saying? Josh Taylor, that 95-year-old dude who knocked him out in a round. Ismael Barroso. He's also got, he lost some points to Catterall. So those are all world-class fighters, but when he steps up to world-class, he gets a beatdown. And he's not world-class himself. And that's the only guy that Azim has fought, who had any vague pedigree. You could say Enoch Poulsen, who's, that sounds like a real Danish name, right? Poulsen. And he does fight out of Denmark. right? He's originally from Zambia, though. I don't know where he got the name Poulsen from. That's, that doesn't seem like a Zambia name to me, but hey, what do I know? What do I know about Zambia? But, so, he's only 22, Azim, and he's been touted, since the amateurs. He had a great amateur record. It was all at youth level, though, right? So he'd fight at youth level, but in the Europeans, and internationals, most of his fights were at the top, international level. If you go down his record, almost all his fights are at, English title level, international level, European level. So he's been known for years. He's been, touted as a future prospect. Like I said, no Diddy, no Omo. He's a good-looking guy, so he's very sellable. People that think looks don't matter. I once met this stupid ass. I had this boss. She was a woman, right? Real rich family and all that stuff. And she used to always, proselytize and be woke and all that. And, oh, looks don't matter, though, do they? I looked at her like she was insane. I'm like, really? So they don't matter to you at all. So you would go with the ugliest guy you ever met. He goes, oh, well, if his character's nice, sure. I was like, how can you say that with a straight face? She was quite attractive, but has this huge ass. Anyway, she's an idiot. She was awful at her job. One of them females that just gets good jobs, but they can't. But I had to tell her off. Why are you talking to me like that? I said, because you are incompetent. This is what I told her. She got fired soon afterwards, and I got promoted to her job. So what do you know about that, homeboy? Anyway, I love tangents. So Adam Azim, and by the way, everything matters in life. When people say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. Everything matters. Of course it matters if you take it out the battle hall. Right? It means you're a freak for starters. And the statistics are not good around it. But Adam Azim is not fruity, to my knowledge. But, he is, like I said, Shalom's got two fighters, Bakoli and Adam Azim. Bakoli, because he's a heavyweight, could make a lot of money, even though he's not well known. Azim could be the jewel in his crown if he can hold a punch and if he continues to do well. He can. He's got some good knockouts, a lot of good knockouts on his record. He's gone the distance a couple of times. He's fought a couple of guys with good records, but that isn't everything, is it? He's beaten. Guys with half decent records. He hasn't. They haven't. Well, of course, early on in his fights, they fed him a few bums, but apart from that, they've moved him very well. And that won't be up to Shalom because he's useless. But, I think it's a decent step up. Question is, what happens in the fight? Can Lipinets score the big upset? Well, Lipinets is coming off a win. So that's always a good thing for the confidence, right? Lipinets is coming off a win for a guy called Robbie Davis Jr., a British guy. I think he was once a prospect, but he's not that great. Lipinets put him over twice, but he went the distance. But obviously, it's a clear win for Lipinets. Previous to that, he lost to a guy called Michel Rivera. Lipinets. He hasn't had a lot of fights. Lipinets is one of these guys that Rivera's okay. He's only got a loss to Frank Martin. Apart from so he's sort of. He's vaguely world class, I suppose. It's not a disgrace to lose to Rivera, but it shows that what level Lipinets is at. They're just below real world level. Okay? Robbie Davis Jr., he was once a prospect. He's also 35, he's game, but he's also been knocked out by Dara Foley and he gave it his all. He's got guts. It's slightly concerning that Lipinets couldn't stop him though. For an alleged world-class fighter, but he's coming off that win, Lipinets. He's one of these guys that seems to fight, right? If I look at him, this is nuts, right? He had one fight in 2020, one fight in 2021 against Jaron Ennis. one fight in 2022, one fight in 2023, one fight in 2024. I mean, so that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last 5 years, he's only had one fight. You know, I don't know who's managing him, but he's not doing a great job because everyone needs to get paid. So from the age of 30 to 35, he only had 5 fights, which is crazy. And they're throwing it. So I think the timing might be good for this, actually, for Azim. Now, however, there have been times when young guys, flashy guys, get taken apart, you know, by experienced, tough guys. And Lipinets fits that bill, Azim. He's experienced and tough. Has he got enough for Azim? Skill-wise, Azim, I think, is a level above. He's 3 inches taller. He's got speed. He's got power. You know what I mean? He's exciting. You know, but there's still a risk there. There's still a risk there. Lipinets is a decent puncher. He's not massive, but he's a decent puncher. You know, if you catch anyone right, as we saw with Bruno Surase knocking out Jaime the Mungia, you know, if you catch a guy right and they go over, that's it, man. End of story. So, Boxing News go for Azim to win over 12 rounds. That's a 12 rounder, which I like, you know, because that's where you really test a man's character. I think 15 rounds was too much. I'm glad they dropped it to 12. There were too many. Boxing is too dangerous, and there's too many injuries in the late rounds, right? To do 15 rounds. Also, the other thing about 15 rounds was if you get a bum fight, you got to sit through it for 15 rounds. You know, that's too long, man. You know, boring fight. So there you go. What'll happen? Azim will win. The question is whether he can stop Lipinets. I think if I were to predict, I don't think, you know, I can't see myself betting on this fight. I might have a $5 on Lipinets just for fun, and I'll tell you why. Because if Azim's chin is dodgy, you don't know. But you know, it's a bit of a cliche. It's a bit of a. Some people say it's an urban myth that Asian fighters from that part of Asia, you know, Pakistan, India, a place like that, they can't take a punch. You know, obviously Amir Khan's the main. I can't really think of a single big name Asian fighter who can take a shot. I just can't. So that's a cliche, right? You know, whether it's true or not, well, you know, there's some evidence. Put it that way. Danny Garcia. I remember Danny Garcia said to what's his name? Khan, Amir Khan. He goes, everybody knows Pakistani guys can't take a punch. It's a bit out of order, but they're quite funny all the same. You're not allowed to say these things these days. It's ridiculous. You should be able to say what you want, man. As long as you're not saying kill that guy. Yeah, and that's why, you know, you can find out what the agenda is, because they tell you to people, you can't say this, you can't say that, because they're trying to stop people talking about an agenda, be it immigration or whatever. And what is it? Some philosopher said, you know, you always find out who rules over you because you're not allowed to criticize them. Yeah. So you can get 6.5 on Lipinets. It was actually 7.0, but now it's 6.5, so it's dropped a bit. You know, so if you put a tenner, you get £65 back. Okay, including your stake. I mean, it's not impossible. I have a $5 on it just so I got something to support. I mean, I would expect Azim to win this. I think the timing's right to put Azim against a guy like Lipinets. And Lipinets ain't quite a hard enough puncher, and he's tough, but he has been stopped and he can be put over. So I actually think it's a perfect piece of matchmaking for Azim. But there's still a danger there. Like I said, I think I would take Azim to win by late-ish KO. Boxing News haven't been winning on points. That's also possible. I mean, the main issue for Azim is that it's a 12-rounder. You know, he's never been 12 rounds before. So, you know, that might be in his head a bit, you know. But, you know, look, if you're a prospect and you've got to step up, he's had 12 round scheduled fights. What's his name? Azim, but he stopped everyone. So he's gone as far as 10 rounds. But you know, there's only a couple more rounds. You know, and I don't see any problem with that really. You know, yeah. Huh? if you want to go somewhere, you got to be able to take 12 rounds. So that's my prediction. Azim by leg KO all points, and we'll see how good he is. Because Lipinets, it will test him to some extent, but I think they've caught him at the right time. Yeah, let's have a quick look at the undercards. So, who you got there? You got Callum Simpson fighting. It's only like, I don't know, 20 days since he fought. He's fighting some African who come with a flashy record, but, you know, with loads of KOs. But you know, he's been... These random Africans... He's from Ghana, so he's probably known to be teak tough, but a lot of the Africans come with great records, but you know, they haven't really got it. Cal Bum Simpson, I'm not that interested in. Jamie TSK fights Michael Webster, who's that guy who does too many sunbeds. You know, I don't really care about that fight. Well, it's vaguely interesting, actually. I'd expect Jamie to win. He obviously got stopped once, but his opponent got stopped recently. Didn't Michael Webster, didn't he get stopped recently? Solomon Dacres stopped him. And he also beat him on a majority decision. It doesn't look that great after Dacres got ironed out by Adelaide, but I don't know. At that level, it's not a bad, dreadful fight. Although I don't really care. A guy called Scott Forrest fighting on the undercard. He's an interesting guy, actually. He's just a real muscular guy. Now, they bill him as being Scottish, but he's not really. He comes, his birthplace is in South Africa. Because I always thought, oh, this muscled up cruiserweight, Scottish? I ain't never seen anything like that. He's a good puncher. He's fighting an unbeaten guy. So, I don't know, that's not a bad fight. An unbeaten guy with 8 wins and 7 KOs from Moldova, though, who's fought only bums. But, Scott Forrest probably knock him out. It's not as bad a bill as I thought. At least there's no woman on it, you know. Hassan Azim, yeah, Adam's brother, is fighting against the guy with a terrible record. So he's obviously going to beat him. But Hassan's nothing like his brother in terms of talent. He was ironed out in the amateurs. This guy called Emini Colombo, who's this African dude as well. He's got 18 wins, 17 KOs, and 1 loss. But his loss was on points to Israel Madrimov. So he's fought at the top level, although he clearly lost, like, every round. I don't know why they would pull this guy in. I mean, he's obviously not selling any tickets, but as I said, that bum Ben Shalom hasn't got many fighters, so he's got to desperately look around for anyone. So that's the undercard. That's okay. I mean, if they gave me a free ticket, I'd go. I would pay a tenner to go and watch this, probably. Nothing more, really. Not be that interested. I don't know why I looked at this guy, but it's the one thing I cannot let go. Okay? And it's not really got to do with boxing. On the card, there's this guy, undefeated, called Alfie Clegg. I can't find any amateur fights from him. His name is Alfie Classy Clegg. He's a super fly, so no one cares. In the words of the immortal Derek Sora, no one give a F about the little guys. Yeah? So he's got 10 wins, 2 KOs. I mean, I don't know what this guy. He's from Guildford. It's a pretty civilized place to be from. But he's one of the ugliest guys I've ever seen. Look at this man's boat race. Look how ugly he is, man. Don't look human. He looks like some kind of gremlin or something like from Lord of the Rings or some stuff like that, you know? Where they got short, ugly people, you know? I don't know how tall he is, but he's a super flyweight. So he's probably like 5'4". Yeah? You live in a village full of guys like Sonny Edwards, ugly-looking guys who are really small and can't punch. You know what I'm saying? Ugh, he's really gives me the shivers. He's so ugly. Now, this Clegg has got this Alfie Clegg. The only reason I'm talking about him is because he's so ugly. But I'm sorry if people think I'm cool. Whatever, man. They might think I'm ugly. But he looks like a mutant, man. And I think he's mixed, even though he's got blonde hair, because he looks weird. He's got that tight curly blonde hair. I'm pretty sure he's mixed, man. And sometimes it works out well, you know. You know, if you're talking about men, right? Say Danny Cipriani, right? Danny Cipriani is considered to be a good-looking guy. He gets a lot of women. He's a so-called, sex addict, but always trying to get himself in the papers, right? And he's a bum, but he hasn't got no chin. Funnily enough, I was once sitting with this girl, quite well known, And I didn't rump or anything, but I was just, chilling. And Danny Cipriani sort of waltzes up on his own, Jack Jones, and sits on the table next to us. And you can see he's looking at the bird, because he thinks he's a Romeo. And I look up at him and I'm thinking, behave, you bum, because, that Cipriani is extremely chinny, right? He's known to be chinny, right? There's a time, it was a story at the time, this guy called Josh Lucy, and he had some row with Cipriani, and Cipriani was giving it the big one, whatever, shut up, man, or be shut up, innit? He said. Well, he doesn't speak like that, but shut up or be shut up. Yeah, and this Josh Lucy goes, all right, and banged him on the end of the chin. Yeah, there's this guy who was there, he goes, this is what the guy says. Before Cipriani spoke to him like that again, I heard a bang, and when I turned around, he was on the floor snoring. it was like a rubbish version of that famous photograph of Cassius Clay towering over Sonny Liston. Yeah. And he knocked him out with the right hand. And apparently the Cipriani guard came around, and for the next 5 hours he kept on asking, what happened? What day is it? That bum. He also got knocked out in this game. Look, you can check out this game. He gets knocked out. So he's very chinny. And and he was and I give him that look. No, I'm not tough or anything, but if you're chinny, you're going to go over. And I'm like, what are you looking at, man? Mind your own business. Go get your own women's. But that bum. Anyway, watch him get knocked out.
Secure ball. McGinty coming round. Clark going on his own. Cipriani's out cold there. Danny Cipriani's KO'd on his back.
Stop. Sorry, guys.
And Dan Robson's not well either.
It's just an accidental clash of heads between all three of them.
What a carry from this man, but you're right, Oz. Sickening head clash. I think he gets Robson on the recoil from Cipriani.
It's time to go off on a tangent, because it's quite weird, like mixed race people. Sometimes they look real good looking. Yeah. There's loads of mixed race. I know loads of guys who like white guys who like mixed race girls. Was it Eubanks' daughter, Emily Eubanks, is quite pretty. Nigel Benn, I don't know, was it Nigel Benn's daughter? She ain't mixed. There's a whole bunch of girls in boxing that their daughters of people, and I did a video on it. I can't remember their names. They're quite pretty and all that. But these days, all the mixed race girls are getting scooped up by the white boys. And there's a lot of haterism from the black community. Anyway, whatever. But sometimes, like I said, they can look real pretty. Other times you get people like this, Robert De Niro's son. Look at this thing. Look at this mutant. Look how ugly he is. I mean, like I said, technically I'm mixed. 10%, whatever. But 10% is not a lot. You know what I'm saying? People, Jade Goody, she was mixed race. What's that guy called? Cole Palmer, even though he's the whitest guy in the world. Mixed race. Stephen Graham, the actor Stephen Graham. He's Jamaican, man. Well, he's got Jamaican blood in him. You know what I'm saying? It's quite strange how things work out, genetically. But Robert De Niro's son was some ugly thing, man. Or you get the grandsons. Muhammad Ali said it was the most gross thing to have mixed race kids, and then his daughter ended up having them. And but you got Nico Ali Walsh, who's really ugly and really white skinned. But, he really pushes, he's a convert to Islam, and he really tries to push the ethnic thing, even though, he's like, hey, white boy, if he was in prison, he'd probably have to side with the white guys. The black guys aren't taking him on. Because, in American prisons, I'm talking about, it's racially segregated, man. You hang out with your own race in America. It's not the same in the UK. People mix more, but, in America, especially with the gangs, man, they don't even, some of them don't even talk to different races, But yeah, if Nico was in prison, probably graping or noncing like his granddad, nonce. Why do they never talk about Muhammad Ali being a nonce? I'll tell you why. There ain't no rhetorical questions on the Triple B show. It's because, the media made him up to be such a hero and all that, even though he was a piece of shit to women. He was an awful bully to Frazier and other fighters. I don't care that he's a draft dodger. I think good. I don't want to go to war for no country, you know. Forget about it. I'm not going to war. Oh, the only time I go for war would be to defend my own country, you know. I want to go to war for the government, you know. So yeah, I actually respect Ali for not doing that. But and then you got Biagio Ali, the other grandson, the son of Nico Ali, who's an MMA fighter, and he looks like a good-looking Italian guy. It's just weird. It's weird when you get mixed. Sometimes you get real mess-ups, real ugly people like Alfie Clegg, and you got guys they look like models. In fact, I think he has done modelling, Biagio, Ali Walsh. Anyway, man, it sounds a little bit fruity, just talking about looks, you know. But yeah, I just had to bring up Alfie Clegg because it's a long time since I've seen anyone that ugly. Anyway, peace.